Hello. So this is session 1 of 4 for Hearts of Wulin. This is a PBTA hack. And by hack, I mean I have literally hacked apart a variety of PBTA games to make this up. It is a Frankenstein. It is a Wulin melodrama game. So heart crushing, face punching. That's the goal for us today. I'll talk about that in a second. This is not a play test per se. We'll get some feedback when we do Roses and Thorns, but we're only going to change things if something like the wheels come off on something. We'll change that. So this is not play test per se. This is something I put together. I want to thank Renee Knipe, who I had a conversation with about this a number of years ago, and I did a very early draft of this that was terrible. And she was nice enough not to tell me it was terrible, but to go, okay, that looks interesting. That's different from what I was thinking. But I have learned a lot about PBTA in the intervening couple of years, so I hope this works. This is certainly inspired from me by Monster Hearts and some of the drama that it generates. So I want to do our cats, which goes through what our concept, aim, tone, all of that is. This is concept. We're doing Wulin melodrama. Our aim is to have our characters deal with emotional entanglements, relationship entanglements, while being sweet wuxia. So that's the trick here. This is romance and melodrama with an action background. They are Wulin heroes. I want to say something about how the structure. So this is a fantastic China. It is timeless. It has no set geography. All we know is that the capital is somewhere away. On the Zhanghu Hustle podcast, they use the phrase heterotopia, which is what that means is that this is a world that is parallel to the real world. The world of the Wulin heroes of the wushu exists parallel. If you've seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, there are those heroes, and then there's sort of the real people that kind of have to deal with the heroes. So there's a whole society that exists outside that in parallel, and they cross and encounter. Let me say something. This is very much me doing a Wulin soap opera. So there are going to be some problems with that. One is that I'm taking the most sort of exotic of the cultural institutions, and as much as if you would do American soap opera, it would not reflect American history or reality. So that's part of what's going on. Also, my background is in Arabic. So when I speak or try to pronounce a Chinese name or phrase, it will come out so bad. So I'm going to apologize up front about that. Names and things will be pronounced terribly. If you know Chinese, I'm sincerely sorry for what is about to occur. So we're going to set up a little bit about the setting. We're going to begin with that. This is a PBTA game, so we've got a lot of input from the players on where things are going. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, so we have a safety tool. We are using the X card. Is everyone familiar with the X card? Okay, everyone has. Simple tool for people if we hit problems with tone, subject matter, presentation. If you do hit me with that, I may ask about how to kind of go edit past what I need to be editing past. I use the X card because it's the simplest tool. We've got a small amount of time online, so it's easiest. There's some other tools out there that are much stronger and in depth, but I'm going to be working with the X card today. We play until about a quarter till. For the time. We break a little bit early. We'll take a break at the midpoint. So if I need to take it earlier, give me a heads up on that. If at any point you can't understand what I'm saying because of my Hoosier accent, if I'm from Indiana, just stop me and have me repeat myself. I will not take offense. This is first session. We'll do Roses and Thorns at the end of second session, and then at the end of the fourth session. So just to tell you how we're gonna do that. Our players have already been filling out their character sheets. We're using a Google sheet for that. They're getting that all set. What I'm going to start with, though, is we need to establish some details, some names to hang things on for this Wulin world. And
question?
Yes, absolutely.
Before we get into this world building, I have like a question about how do you envision this game regarding like the structure? Is it like, I don't know, dungeon world type of adventure? We are always together, just some bad guys coming in waves and we are dealing with them? Or is it like more like, I don't know, urban shadows? Everyone is mostly solo. Sometimes we have like a group scene. What is your approach?
Well, it's going to depend.
How do you envision this?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. It's going to depend on how the group builds entanglements. I will probably start the initial scene at least together, but I imagine that we will be going off and doing individual or paired scenes. It's not Dungeon World where we have a set mission. I think it's going to fall somewhere between the two. So if you say, "Oh, I want to go and do a scene with this NPC," that's perfectly legit. For this. I imagine that all of you will have things that will be pulling on you. Does that seem fair?
Yes.
Okay. And if at any point you're like, we need to be doing more of this, feel free to tell me. So factions in this Wulin world, we have three kinds of factions. We have factions or groups, sects, clans, societies that are righteous. We know that they are generally aiming towards law and doing the right thing. Groups that are unrighteous, that are generally, the doing the bad stuff or ambition, or they're not following the Wulin virtues. And then there are some groups that are ambiguous. They might be one way or the other. It's unclear. And there's going to be one of these factions that has already been destroyed. So we have a historical precedent that can come bubbling up if we need to have that. So what I'm going to have you do is everybody's going to come up with two of these. I'm going to do it round robin. Around, I'll have you pick a name. I've got a whole bunch of example names there, or you can come up with your own. And we'll add it to one of the areas. And I'll have you put two traits that reflect it. What are the things when people think of this group? And I may ask you a couple of questions about that. So we're going to go around and I'm going to move from left to right on my screen, which means Sherry.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm sorry, are we going to belong to any of these, or is like one of these going to be a faction that we belong to when we choose it?
So what you make up, you don't have to belong to it, but these will be the ones that when you decide where you're from or who you might be associated with or antagonistic to, you'll have some names to work from. So if you come up with something, you're not necessarily tied to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Sherry, and you have played with me in a wushu game before, so that's why I chose you first.
Okay. All right. So you just want a name of a faction?
The name of a faction and tell me where it's going to go. Righteous, ambiguous, or unrighteous.
Okay. Let's see here. How about the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society?
Okay.
And they are righteous.
Righteous. Okay.
Yes.
I'll let you type that in.
Oh, great. Where do I type it in at? Factions. Got it.
Yep. And what would be two traits for that society? When people think of them, what do they think of?
Let's see. They think that they keep their word.
Okay.
And that they will assist others.
Okay. So this is a security or escort bureau. That's a common thing in these Wulin sections. There are people that are hired out to help others. At the beginning of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Michelle Yeoh's character is part of a security bureau, and she's hired to do that. So that's a important detail. Maria, let's have you pick a name or come up with one for one of these groups.
I like the Blade Dogs as unrighteous.
Okay.
I'm gonna type it down.
Okay. And what traits? What defines the Blade Dogs?
I'm thinking they're ruthless. They burn down a bunch of villages, including mine.
Okay.
And they are relentless as well. Like they are not stopping anytime soon.
Ooh, nice. All right. We've got the vicious. Do you imagine them as more barbaric or more formal, and they're just kind of evil?
Somewhere in between. They have
Okay.
a warlord leader that I'm hunting down.
Okay, that sounds good. Patrick, what about you?
I like where did it go? 100 Ghost faction.
Ooh, and where is that?
That's gonna go in unrighteous as well.
Ooh, interesting. And traits for them?
Yeah, I think inevitable and uncanny.
Okay. And so 100 Ghost Faction. So do they have a particular appearance, a particular style? Why do they call themselves that?
I think it's like an assassin organization, but not like a ninja clan where everyone is trained to be faceless and uniform. It's one of those like every one of the assassins looks and fights totally different. They all have these weirdly particular styles, but there's some sort of like loose organization to it, to where like shadowy masters hand out the jobs and organize them.
Awesome. We cut to the shadowy master handing the order to the assassin. Okay. Is it Pavel or how?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Good. It's good.
So Pavel, let's have you pick one.
So I'm going to go with Jade Brush School, who will be ambiguous.
Nice.
So that we have some balance. I totally envision that this is like one of maybe bigger schools of Jade Brush style. And regarding the traits for them, I like impulsive and stubborn.
Ooh, that will create complications. I like it. Awesome.
Yeah.
I will pick one, and let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and put, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put the Purity Sword Sect under ambiguous. And traits will be, let's see, strict and ambitious. Oh, there we go. That's my addition on my round. Sherry, back to you.
I think that it would be good to have one that was called 88 Shrines Following. And essentially it's a group of Wulin who have aspirations to creating a territory of lawfulness within the Wulin in that area. And essentially what it is they claim a shrine and they keep on sort of widening a set of borders by these shrines.
Ooh. Righteous, ambiguous, unrighteous?
Let's see here. I guess they're kind of super righteous in some ways. So because they want that lawfulness.
All right. And I heard expanding, super righteous. Anything else?
sure. When you go into their area, you're either with them or you're against them. So I guess that might be super righteous again, but that's...
I put with or against, though. I like that.
Okay.
Maria, back to you.
Before I pick one, I would like to mention that I was looking at Black Lotus Society, but then I noticed Blazing Wheel. So I am not. So let me actually look for a serious one. How about? Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna use Black Lotus Society.
Okay.
It is going to be ambiguous.
Oh, interesting.
They are all about gathering knowledge and writing down information. They're a bit shady about it, which is why it's ambiguous. Like, it's gather knowledge at all cost. So I will put...
Nice.
So I'll put that there, and yeah.
I like it. So do you imagine that knowledge is it's not just history, it's sort of the information network and the gossip and who's really pulling the strings? Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Or maybe it's just the historical thing at a face value, but then when you dig deeper, you'll really know that they're really like spy network and shit.
Ah, okay. I like that. Eyes there is a trait. All right. Patrick, back to you.
Okay, so just to be difficult, I'm going to go with the Vile Rain Cult.
Okay.
As righteous.
Ooh.
Nice.
And I think what they are is they're like a metaphor. They see this corruption and depravity and evil sort of just raining down from the clouds on society, and they're here to find it and clean it out. Get rid of cults and sects and like organized people that are doing evil.
So sort of justice for them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
like
oh yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right. Pavel, we leave you with either the last unrighteous or the destroyed group.
I think it would be nice to have the destroyed. They are the Yun clan.
Okay.
It's a clan that traits are young and elite, and they are like relatively new clan of nobles who wanted to take like a more share than they were supposed to. They were like, so maybe not elite but aggressive. Yeah, not. So they were young and aggressive, and they wanted to just conquer some lands, and they were probably stopped by the righteous organizations, and then the assassins wipe out completely them. So there is like no more trace of them, or maybe there are. Who knows?
Right.
Maybe one of us is the last descendant. Who knows?
Awesome. Love it. And then I have to pick the last of the bad one. Ooh, let's see here.
The formless governors.
Let's see. Do we have?
Wouldn't mind like some sort of drug connection on an unrighteous end.
Interesting.
It would be hilarious if you picked Holy Society for the last unrighteous one because Patrick picked the Vile Rain Cult as the righteous one.
Well, then I'm going to do that because, in fact, in the other game I ran, Holy Society were the bad guys. So,
cool.
So I imagine then. Let's see. Illicit trade, isolated, large. So I imagine them as Patrick said, they do the drugs and stuff, but they do keep to themselves. But they're large and have good power all across. All right, so we've got those. That gives us some things to hang stories on, just to get that out there in the world. Again, societies are probably the best way to organize because geography is super fluid in this place. Things are a distance away from one another. All right, so what I would like to do next is have players introduce their characters, talk about who they are, how they imagine themselves, and sort of what they've chosen in terms of moves. So we know that. We're going to go through and do that. Have everybody introduce themselves, and then we will look at entanglements and bonds, and I'll talk about what that means when we get to that. Now, to provide mercy to Sherry, Patrick, I'm going to have you start.
Can I post a question before we start?
Absolutely.
Like, how magical are we going? Are we going like Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff, or are we going only Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like running on the trees and like jumping without effort? Like, how much magical are we going?
Much more Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is the imagining that we have here. So there are people throwing bolts, and they do fantastical things, but magic is those things, and maybe alchemy, and people doing poisons and stuff, and that's how I imagine that. Is that cool with everybody?
Yeah, and I feel like as we talk about my character concept, we'll be exploring the edges of that, so that might answer that question even further.
Okay, that is fine with me.
I have some weird elements, but I tried to keep it within the genre, but please feel free to like rein me back at points.
Okay. So Patrick, tell us about your character.
So I have Renshu, and she's the aware playbook with the master subset. Let's see, I have a picture of her down at the bottom. She's very unassuming looking, very calm looking, and put together. But I also, I really enjoyed from the picture that Sherry also loved, and I stole right out from under her, the sort of like ephemeral, translucent shell sort of aspect. That's she's wearing these very sheer, thin sort of tights and these very like sheer mesh gloves, and she has this overlay over her outfit, so it sort of enforces a care with how she moves and how she interacts with the world, or else it would all just tear away. I think she is from originally from the 100 Ghost faction. I think her family basically raised her in that, and she has turned away from that lifestyle to try and follow a more balanced and controlled path. But it means that she has a lot of instincts and reactions and judgments that maybe she doesn't exactly love having. As far as a fighting style and sort of a visual for, I like I said in the email, I was just entranced by the idea of the scholar subset, which I didn't actually end up using because I like the master move better.
Okay.
But that sort of idea of like, I'd love to beat someone to death with a scroll or some sort of paper thing. And then in my character ideas, that was sort of morphing into the read or die anime. With some of the like paper kinesis powers that are going on there. So a lot of like paper, ropes, whips, flexible grasping weapons, flowing cyclone style linked to water is her particular style. And I imagine a lot of it centers around like paper and origami. So she has the hidden dragon move where you can build strange devices, and I'm imagining like sort of a perfected origami style where she can make like shuriken and throwing stars that are out of origami paper, but they're sharp and cut through things. Similarly with like weapons and stuff, and that she can make these like given time and the right focus and materials, make these really intricate sort of origami machines that do something odd once and then sort of fall apart because they're paper. Similarly with Storm Rider, which is where I can, once per scene, move anywhere within line of sight like a blur, regardless of height or distance. And I think that's like a storm of paper that she throws out, and they sort of like whip up, and she does the step up like on these sheets of paper in midair to run to where she's going to. And then the master move that I liked so much was your Paragon of Calm and Thoughtfulness. You understand when it's time to fight and when it's not. And so when you attempt to stop a conflict as it breaks out, roll and see what happens. And I sort of imagine that as like quick, fast movement, prayer scrolls going out and like binding people's wrists, stopping them from moving for a moment. But just as like the nature of the move is only dependent on how well she speaks, how strong her words are, they're literally chained by language, chained by words, by paper. They could break out of it at any moment. It's just that like momentary stop to reconsider to see if her words are enough to hold them.
And that definitely seems cool. I mean, in the Wulin, we see people using improvised weapons all the time. Things that should not be weapon quality become weapon quality. Cloth becomes stiffened for attacks. Paintbrushes are used in the place of swords. All of that kind of thing. So that seems reasonable within the level of fantastic that we're working in. Was there an incident that pushed her to leave the 100 Ghosts?
I think given the sort of inherent fragility of like a paper-based style, and especially given that her parents were raising her in this cult, her family was raising her in this cult, there's sort of like a love and care there of they didn't want her to be in danger, injured, killed. She was still very young. And so a lot of the work that she did was either preparatory, or if it was violence, it was done from a distance. And I think maybe like when she turned, what would be age of majority in this society? 16, 18?
Yeah, 16, 18.
Okay. I think maybe when she turned 16, like they had to step back and send her through the ritual, like first blood sort of mission. And when she got up in someone's face, you know, stabbed them, killed them, blood everywhere. I think that was just too much for her. She'd always been more of a reader, always been obsessed with knowledge and paper and the written word, and that's where her style came from. And I think this just like it broke her out of that family loyalty, and she started to go a more philosophical path to try and figure out where her life should go.
I imagine that if we do the flashback montage, when she kills the person, we would see a scroll with writing on it, and the blood would fall on it and obscure the letters. That would be the visual element there.
And like I was talking about with her, like the translucent fabrics and stuff, the sort of fragile shell, I think that's an intentional affectation, because it makes her move slower. It makes her move in a more considered manner. It stops her from relying on her sort of killer instincts.
Are the ghosts still after you?
Oh yeah. I think sometimes when she makes her fantastical devices, things, it seems like other spirits, other wills than her own sometimes inhabit them and make things go awry, and she's definitely still haunted by the dreams.
Awesome. I like that. All right. And you'll start with one bond with them, just because you still have some connection to that faction.
Okay, with the 100 Ghosts?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Pavel, can I ask you to tell us about your character?
Sure. But before I do that, one more question.
Absolutely. No, feel free.
How does the rolling stat in this game works? Because you did mention it's like a Veil. I never played Veil. Is it like a, I don't know, Fate Accelerated? The way you describe it, that then we try to match the stat you roll, or
So on any particular move, you're going to be rolling 2d6, and you'll choose which of the 5 stats to add. So it's a little bit like Fate Accelerated in that you are kind of justifying which to add to it. You have your martial stat, that's water for you because that's your style stat. If you're in conflict, that's the one you always roll. Roll the water stat. And what will happen is as you take damage, you take conditions, you'll close off some of those stats, so you won't be able to roll with them while you have some conditions.
Yes. So what happens when I have to roll my style, but I have like condition in water? Because I think I've seen somewhere that you cannot roll that with condition. So what then?
Yes, that you can't fight then. You need to figure out another way. You need to fall back. You need to have your friends assist you.
Okay.
It's very abstract for the combat, so you'll see that. The basics of this for PBTA are you're rolling 2d6. If you get a 6 or less, that's a fail.
Okay. I know this part.
Agree with that. Okay. All right. So you know that part. So that's the basics then.
Yeah, I was just unsure about this veil part of choosing.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, because it's quite different from the other PBTA games. Yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to put your attention that we have 2 characters with almost the same name. We have Jean and Jen. It might be quite confusing in the long run. So I don't know if one of you would like to consider changing this. It's up to you, of course.
I'll change mine. I thought that was the last name, so it doesn't really apply that much. But I'll change mine to Zhao.
Yeah, okay. I have no idea which one is first and which one is second. I just use like our Western notation. First is like first name, and then is the second name.
I've always read it that way, but I'm a lazy person. So tell us about Kai Jin.
Yes, so Kai Jin is a student of sub playbook. I think it was Hopeful Apprentice. I imagine Kai Jin as being a second son, and my father and my elder sibling. Not sure if it's a boy or a girl yet. I think they are very high in like Jade Brush School, because I'm not sure how nobility works in this game, but I think I'm somehow like a little bit higher born than lowborn.
Okay.
I'm not yet sure how to reflect it with the entanglements, so we'll see. But the basic is that Kaijin was sent to train somewhere else outside of the school, and somehow for the entanglements, I would like to bring his conflict with his brother, who is maybe jealous, maybe not. We'll see how the entanglements work.
Okay.
I totally. I posted a photo of how I imagine Kaijin, this weird weapon I chose, Senjiegun. It's like a 3-part nunchaku. It's like basically a staff cut into 3 parts, and then each part is connected by a chain, by a small chain. And I totally envision that my master just doesn't allow me to yet train with weapons. And maybe it will be at some point an interesting conversation in game. So I'm so far using only blunt and very flexible weapons.
Excellent.
And this is something about my style, about like bending. My style is called bending fist, because we mostly bend things. So maybe like running on the trees, stuff like that. Who knows? Regarding moves, my Hopeful Apprentice allows me to combat someone above my scale and don't immediately lose, but mark a condition to like remain in fight somehow, to prolong the fight. My smiling proud wanderer allows me, because I like adventure, because I imagine that my master just sent me to go see some world, like travel for a year or 2 and then come back. So for him, it's like a super adventure, and this allows me to ask a question from study without rolling, 1 question per scene. And I have Blade Heart, which means I'm good at converting villain agents to helping me. with words. So yeah.
That is a good one. Patrick will recognize my thieving from Fellowship, that game, for that particular move. For the Jade Brush Society, were you taught by your parent, or is your master someone different from that?
Totally different.
Okay.
My father sent me to train somewhere completely different. So my entire family is like very high, very deep into this Jade Brush school and Jade Brush style, and I'm something completely different.
And for the Jade Brush School, do you imagine that it is very much kind of, is it all wealthy, or are you amongst the sort of the higher born among that whole society?
It's hard to say how much do we see a faction, because I imagine that this is like, I'm not that this is just a very popular style. So there are a lot of people, a lot of students, and my family is somewhere high in the ranks. So there might be in other provinces that are poorer. Maybe this faction isn't so rich, but I imagine that somehow in our region this faction is kind of rich. So.
And your family certainly is at the top of the hierarchy, top of the pyramid there. Okay.
Yes. In our province, at least.
So where do you think this? You have that Blade Heart move, which is about changing villains, right? It's about changing their path. What is it in Kai that makes him want to do that, or makes him skilled at that?
I think it's his master, his teacher, who is teaching him that violence isn't always the best way, and that sometimes a conflict can be avoided, or an enemy can be calmed by just words and to fight on arguments. So if I have some good argument, I can point out why a villain is evil to the agent of the villain. Sometimes he decides that, oh yeah, this guy has a point. So
I like it.
Through wisdom and argumentation, and somehow being less violent than myself.
Perfect. I like it. Thank you very much, Kai. I'm going to come around and speak with Zenai. So Sherry. Janai.
So let's see here. Yes. So Janai was born within the Vile Winds cult. She believes deeply in their sense of righteousness and what is good and fair, and how a person is to conduct themselves in life. She believes so deeply that her filial bonds with her family are in fact what made her leave, because she was more talented than her older brother, and she did not want to rock the boat when it came time to take up the reins for the family school that they ran. And so she left. And she's decided that she will take the ideas of the Vile Rain cult and bring them out to the world and show those who have lived lives of greed and sloth, what the righteous way is, and take them back to those, demonstrate to them what they need to be doing.
Awesome.
So anyway, she essentially lives as a thief. She targets those who are wealthy and not righteous, and she steals from them. And she will typically steal something that she holds for a ransom, and the ransom is that they have to give wealth to orphanages or stuff like that. If they don't bring in the officials, it's very quiet and they can just take honor for their charity. If, however, they complain, then it becomes a big hullabaloo, and she makes sure that they're embarrassed by the necessity for themselves to have to pay that ransom.
What is your thief identity called?
She is the Silkfoot Fox. Because she is very quiet, and whenever she is sighted, she always looks incredibly fabulous in amazing silks.
Awesome. I like that very much. And can you tell us, I'm kind of jumping forward because I do want you to tell us about your style. Tell us about this foil you have that comes with your key move there, your basic move.
Okay, so he is an official, and he is Magistrate Gao. I can't spell it, but anyway, and he is a man who had a great reputation for solving crimes and stuff, but that was actually something that he had lucked into early on. And so this has been like, he got assigned to this and he's sort of not been able to catch up with her. So she feels kind of bad for him. He does sort of try to follow along on the trail of the Silkfoot Fox, and to kind of make up for it, she'll help him solve other crimes. So he kind of travels along in a whirl of never catching the Silkfoot Fox, but taking care of all sorts of other situations.
Awesome. Tell us about your martial style there.
Okay, so it's Fortuitous Winds, and essentially it is entirely based on unexpected weapons. Particularly, she is very good at throwing, of being able to pick up an item, knowing where its center of balance is, and using it the most effectively. It's also usually a particularly non-lethal style, though of course she can drop someone if she needs to. And I would say that essentially it's improvised. It's like she can pick up a bowl and smack someone on the head with it if she needs to from, across the room, and use the environment in any way that she needs to. And that's actually what her family specializes in. So
if we get a montage shot of your family, they're all doing things around the house, and they're making bowls into improvised weapons, and chopsticks are used, for fighting and all of that kind of thing, where we get that montage.
Exactly. Their house is sort of strange because it looks very ordinary, except that there's many chopsticks, and there's there's everything, bowls, stacks of bowls, and essentially whatever are the sort of standard things that they have for training, there will be like more than there would be sitting out in a normal household. But that's the only difference.
Nice. What are your other two moves?
Oh, my other two moves. So I decided to go quite classic. So I took It Takes a Thief, because how could I not take that move if I'm a thief? So that allows me to slip from any restraint or through a door or window as if it were open. It also helps with attack and defense. My body moves are elegant, so I never wrinkle my dress or tux or spill things on it. And that's important because actually when she's thieving in these places, they always say, oh, she's dressed fabulously. Well, that's because she's stolen their curtains or one of the dresses, and that's what she's wearing, because she particularly dresses very, very simply.
Nice.
So she just wraps herself in. And so they're describing essentially their own clothing or house dressing. And then Legend of the Fox I took, and that's when you study in a formal, official, or high society setting, you always have +1 hold for choices. So I can gain a +1 forward acting on the answers. Alternately, without rolling, you can always pick out who is the most influential or wealthy person in the room at a glance.
Nice. So do you have siblings?
Yes, I have an older brother, and he's quite good, but I'm better. And it was coming up for that time when he was going to have to, step into being an instructor at the school and start making his thing. And my parents kind of surprised us both by saying that we both would be like essentially doing the test for that. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And she left. So that is because she will not show her brother up.
Interesting.
Because she's a little reckless.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. And finally, Maria, can you
Zhao
please
Danyu. I don't know how to pronounce that, so Zhao Danyu, he was born in this village that was raised down by the uh what the Blade Dogs. So he took up the sword and started wandering the land so he can have revenge on the Blade Dogs. So it was so here's the thing. Do you want the spoilers for the sword or no spoilers?
I think it's always best to do spoilers so that the players can play into it.
Okay. So he wields a sword that's really that it's really well known because it's so unusual in shape. The secret is that it's actually a really shitty sword, and it's just that it was forged by his brother, his younger brother, before the village was razed down and he was murdered by the Blade Dogs. So it's more he wields the sword more as a just for himself, because it's like I'm avenging my brother and I'm using my brother's work to avenge him and to basically lay his spirit to rest, kind of. And then but it's not really a good sword, it's terrible. And that ties into his style, which is the Seeking Pilgrim style, which he basically made it to like compensate for the fact that this sword is so bad. His moves are swordsman, which means he can take more an additional wounded condition. And then he has the legendary blade, which I called Seventh Eagle's Talon.
Nice.
And then the Legend of the Mountain, which is when he defends someone from a threat, he can do stuff. And I'm imagining that right now he is being hired by the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society.
That makes sense. That's a good connection there to build up.
Yeah. Because they recognize that he's a good swordsman, so might as well have him there. And he thinks that the Ox Pilgrim Society is righteous, so might as well. And I'm still playing around with the stats, so I am not sure.
Sure, absolutely.
If I want to keep it at Earth or not.
Let me ask you. You mentioned the Seeking Pilgrim style. How did he go about learning that? Is this something he created from learning other pieces? Was there a mentor? How are you imagining that training going on?
It's more it's mostly self-taught. It's more like, how do I use this blade to fight, and realizing that the blade isn't good, just fighting in terms of like how to compensate for that.
So very much self-taught, watching duels, playing with the sword, learning that. So you're the only practitioner of this style.
Correct.
Awesome. Do you imagine that he has a reputation beyond the sword?
He's probably been hold up. He's probably his reputation is probably like he defends the weak and stuff, and he goes after the Blade Dogs whenever he can. That's because of course he's always with the sword, so it can't just be the sword.
And do the Blade Dogs know that you have it out for them?
They've heard rumors, so yes, they know.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. What I want to do now is I want us to each of you has mentioned a clan, either one that did harm to you or one that you're working with, one of these factions. You can go ahead and write that in as a bond on your sheet with a rating of 1. That describes your connections, either positive or antagonistic, and those bonds can be burnt to give yourself a bonus on a roll. What I want to do now is talk about entanglements. Yes, please.
Is this the only use of the bonds?
There are a couple of moves that have bonds that can essentially power them, but basically it's just to get a bonus on a roll.
You do it before the roll or after the roll?
You can do it either way. Usually do it after.
Okay.
Okay.
So, what bond do I have? What's the bond I have with the Ox Pilgrim?
You can choose whether you want it with Ox Pilgrim, sort of a positive bond, or with Blade Dogs, kind of an antagonistic bond.
All right, I'll pick Blade Dogs because that's more important to my character.
That makes sense to me.
All right, and I am now confused because I can't see the characters.
Oh, I think the tab got moved.
Oh, right, it just got moved really far away. Right.
So we're going to do the 3 entanglements, and I want to do this going around, have everybody present an entanglement and who is tied into that. I want you to feel free, when it comes to you, if you've got a name or a person from somebody else's that you want to borrow, you can ask them to overlap if you want to connect those entanglements. At least one of these entanglements needs to be romantic. It can be more. It's up to you how you want to do that. And essentially, you're providing 2 characters in that entanglement. Essentially, one that's kind of the object and one that's kind of the problem, or they might both be problems. But essentially, it's going to be a triangle for you. So, Sherry, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Let's see here. I think the sensible one, and can we introduce another NPC then? That's fine.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what you should be doing.
How about if I say something like, I love, let's see here. I need a good male name. So let's see here.
A question about these entanglements. Are
Sure.
they toward another PCs? Because you mentioned somewhere about PCs in entanglements. Are they not about player characters?
You can put, if you want, you can ask another PC if they're okay with having them in an entanglement. Or they can be about NPCs that you can make up. It can be about NPCs that have been established by other people. If other people have established them, then you can do that. It can be a mix of all of that.
Okay.
So you got a name, Sherry?
Yeah, I just came up with Sue. So I love Sue, who is Magistrate Gao's assistant. But Magistrate Gao is hunting me as a silken fox. So essentially, Master Gao's assistant, which is the other reason that I hang around them.
Okay. So, but Magistrate.
It's a thing that keeps me in Magistrate Gao's circle when I might not otherwise be.
Okay, I like that. That's a nice classic romantic comedy connection there. Maria, let me come to you and ask you for one of your bonds.
Bonds or entanglements?
Sorry, entanglements.
All right.
New game, new terminology.
All right. Let me think. And let's look at the romantic ones.
And you can come up with other ones as well. Feel free.
All right. So, I want to say this one's not romantic.
Okay.
And I helped hide away someone who is a threat or wanted by another clan. Is it okay for me to, Patrick? Is it okay for that person to be your character? And
Um,
I hid you away from the like maybe a one-time thing. I hid you away from the.
So actually, I want to stop you on that. So the idea for the hideaway thing is that this person who is hidden is still hidden.
Oh, okay, then never mind then.
Yeah, no, just so that they're still under threat because of that.
All right.
I'm open to being involved in something though.
All right. It's just a lot of entanglements. Okay.
I tried to make up as many as I could, and then I realized it was a wealth of complications there.
Yeah. Ooh, I suspect Patrick's character again of evil, but someone I respect or love believes in them. Is that okay with you?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And who's the person?
Who's the person I love?
Person who you respect or love that speaks for her.
Let me think.
Sure.
All right. Can you get back to me because I have to think about this?
Okay. All right. I'm going to put a little box here on my notes and get that set. And we will move on to Patrick. You may hear somebody's name thrown in one of these, and you may want to grab onto them. We'll see. Patrick, let us come to you.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to start with a sort of family betrayed clan sort of thing.
Okay.
A rival has sworn to kill me, but I have promised a parent that I will not harm them. And I think this is my brother, like a younger brother.
Ooh. And what is your younger brother's name?
Well, let me generate some random ones. So what are we saying? Second name is family name? What's our convention going to be?
A second name is family name for me.
Oh.
Okay. So Shu. No, I don't like that. Lin, Lin, Lin Shu.
Lin Shu. Okay. Sworn to kill me. But who is it? Is it your mother or your father or someone else that you promised to not harm them?
I think it was my mother. He's sworn to kill me from the 100 Ghosts Society and for my betrayal. But I think somewhere in there I got a secret note or meeting from my mother where she was like, your brother's coming to kill you, but please, like, we're family. I think maybe she sort of respects my philosophical disagreement with the 100 Ghosts if she doesn't quite understand or agree with it more than any of the rest of the family. So she was like, I don't want to see this come to trouble for my two children. Just stay away from him.
Awesome. I'm digging it. All right, Pavel.
I have I think it will be a fun one.
Okay.
So the template is I made a promise to 8, also fill in the blank. And I think it would be very fun that I made a promise to my master that I will aid GNI. Do I said it correctly, Sherry?
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, that I will aid you. I suppose, like, I don't know about your hidden identity, but I promise my master I will help you. And I don't know, maybe you somehow know my master as well. I think, let me grab a name, because I don't think it would be fun to pull this ransom trick on my family. However, we can play with this.
Yeah. And if anybody wants a name too, I do have a list in front of me of both Chinese names and the fanciful names like Onyx Spider brass eagle, those kinds of things.
Oh, so my master is Lin Peng.
All right. So your
would
master Lin Peng made a promise to Junai, to him. You don't know about her secret life,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be an open question whether your master knows about that as well. I like that.
So I chose the name Si Chang for the person who believes in Renshu, and I think they are someone who is high up on the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society, who maybe we have to work together at some point, and I'm like, she used to be a part of the 100 Ghosts, and he's like, nah, that's fine, that's cool.
I like that. And of course, it'll be a handsome, slightly older man who's telling you this. Okay,
Yes.
Just to get that connection there. All right.
I like that too, because I'd been looking for a faction that I could like be seeking support or guidance or protection from. So I like having that connection.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, Sherry, we're going to come back around to you.
All right. I think that it comes down to that we've all got to have some sort of complication with Renshu, because, of course, she's, from that crazy evil clan. So I think that what it is my cult, or my clan, the Vile Rain, suspects her that she's working against them. But, of course, I love Renshu, so I don't know this.
Is it like a superior within the clan that's giving you the orders, the clan in general, your parents? How are you imagining that?
I very much think of it as there being a council of people who get reports from others about the that like watch the unrighteous or suspectedly ambiguous cults and watch for their agents out in the world, and they've identified her as an agent. So that's whether it's true or not. So they are watching her. So it's like there's people from my clan watching Ren, and of course I'm there.
And I'm going to put a name to a face here. We're going to call the person that has like in the scene that we see the orders coming down. This guy named Metal Viper came and told you you need to. She's working against the clan. You need to keep an eye on her. She is nefarious.
And I believe everything else about the Vile Rain clan.
Yes.
It's terrible for me.
Wait, Rensui as in Renshu?
Yeah. Renshu.
Okay.
Sorry, did I say that wrong?
Yeah, it's Renshu.
We will pronounce things terribly wrong.
Yeah, well, no, I also typed it wrong for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Also, we're gonna stop keeping track of names as soon as the game starts.
And I think we're going to go with Onyx Spider for everyone's name.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we have like the whole Western versus Eastern naming conventions, which will make things even harder. So
absolutely, I love it. All right, Maria, let's get your second entanglement.
All right, let me find an entanglement because I've been working the first one this entire time.
Okay.
Let me. All right. Okay, let me put it here. I swear to protect someone I respect, love, to protect a person who would be deeply offended if they do. All right.
Okay.
I'm not sure if any of the PCs would be offended. I'm thinking Zenai would be offended if she knew that. I don't know. Sherry, you agree with that? You're muted.
I'm terrifically righteous. I mean, I have a very keen sense of justice and what is right and wrong.
But would
but
you
I'm
be
very-
offended if you found out that I was protecting you?
Huh. I'm not sure. Yeah, I probably would be.
Because you're also very capable, so I'm guessing
exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, if that's okay, if that's what you want, I will be offended. So
yeah, like I'm not sure. Like, would you want your character to be offended?
Yes, I would do that. Yes, because
So-
you just use a regular and not very good weapon. So, so it's unlikely you could defend me. So,
That's
so
what she
I
says.
think So have we established anything about your brother?
no, merely that I did not think that he was as good as I was. So.
Okay, so maybe I swore to your brother to protect Zenai because apparently he thinks that he thinks that like I'm thinking that he thinks that he's better than you, but he's actually not. So it's like, okay, fine, I'll protect and I respect him. So it's like, okay, fine, I'll protect your sister, even though she is a phantom thief, pretty much.
Yep. No, I like that very much because then we have this family of people who all think they're the best, which is awesome.
What's your brother's name?
That's a good question. Let's see here. If I'm Janai, then he would be what's a good name? Lol.
Let's see here.
I'm going to Wikipedia to see what the census is.
Yeah, exactly. Most common name.
Bo is a classic one.
Okay.
Fen.
Fen sounds good. Janai.
Yeah, I agree.
Janai. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Fen.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Time to look at romantic ones.
Yes. All right. Patrick, I'm coming back around to you for your second one.
All right. So I think I'm going to go with a romantic one. Pending player approval. But the template is I lost to a rival in order to maintain or increase the affection of someone close to them. And I was thinking for Genai there, who was the Vile Rain member who was particularly speaking out against me?
Metal Viper.
Metal Viper, that's it. So I think I intentionally lost a duel to Metal Viper because I knew that Genai was there and she would be upset if I just killed him handily without a thought. And I actually really like and respect, and I think I'm coming to love Genai, if that's okay with you, Sherry.
Is that good?
Yes.
Awesome. And let's come back around, Pavel, for your second one.
Things are getting a little tight and complicated.
Feel free to step outside the circle with the NPCs if you'd like.
No, I really want to connect to the PCs because, how do you envision these entanglements coming in play? Because then you know that in the XP section that each session we are to choose one, and if we do something about this one, get a large amount of experience points. So do you envision them to be changing, like bonds in Dungeon World, or is it like a state that we can never really achieve? But we are trying to pursue it. Like, how do you see entanglements in game?
That is a great question. So I picture the entanglements as, unless something big is done, some major thing happens, the entanglements will stay that way. People can't express their love. People can't reveal things. That it stays oblique. So you can change them, but you as a player need to take action and kind of say, hey, I want to make this change to the entanglement. That's how I imagine it. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It may sound a little bit weird, but I would like to have a romantic relationship with Patrick.
Okay.
Character. I'm thinking
Sounds good.
thinking that since you are in from 100 Ghost faction, I think I love you, but our two factions are at war, and it somehow isn't
Nice.
appropriate to admit to it. Maybe we are like obviously friends, but our two houses are like fighting. I don't know. Maybe in a province far away, there's like a waging war.
Probably people have killed significant people from each other's houses, and there's all that kind of revenge push.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, and I like the sort of like building drama of, am I the only one that knows that I left the 100 ghosts?
Cool.
But you are still tied by family ties, regardless of what you do.
Yeah.
That past comes to haunt you.
Just can't get away from it.
Oh. All right. Zanai, let's come back to you. Let's get another entanglement. Last one for you.
Well, I was trying to think why Kaijin would be following me. So I think like that he was supposed to protect me, and I think that what it is that our families have promised us to each other, but they haven't told us precisely. But the other thing is that there's someone else who's kind of following along with the group who has a mad crush on him. And so that's part of the thing, is that she's always trying to push me away from him.
Okay, and who is that person?
Dang it! Not another name.
You can tell me.
Okay.
Do you want me? Do you want a name?
Wait. So let me get this straight. Your entanglement is that you like Kaijin, but someone is pushing you two away.
No.
Okay.
I think that it's that we're promised. Our families have set up that we're betrothed to each other.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, we don't even know this. So,
Okay.
but the one person who does know it is a woman who has a deep regard for him, and she is also traveling along with us, and she's always undercutting me because so I look less good in his to him.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Is that sufficient, or is that too oblique?
That's perfect.
Okay.
And what is that person's name?
Again, this is the problem. So I need a good name.
You want a descriptive name, or do you want?
Yeah, I want a descriptive name. I want someone who's actually very accomplished at whatever school it is that he is in training in. So I want.
Okay.
And how do we envision this person? Is it like my bodyguard? Do I have I'm not sure, like a servant? Like, how do you envision, what is the role of this person?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Probably a friend who you encounter quite a bit, who makes excuses to hang around, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sounds
fair.
Yeah.
So do you want me to give you some names, Sherry?
Yes.
Ivory Blossom, Undefeated Horizon.
Oh, Undefeated Horizon. How?
That's a great name, though.
It is a great name.
And I'm gonna steal Ivory Blossom, actually, for my mother.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm gonna write that down. Ivory Blossom. Is Undefeated Horizon male or female?
I think female, because that means that she can get in my way in more situations. Does that make any sense?
Sure.
So
we have this old friend of Kaijin who just always happens to be there, that kind of thing. All right, I got it. All right, Maria.
All right. I wanted to make things even more complicated and say I love Zenai, but they are engaged to Kaijin. I mean, it's not as much complicated because we already established that, but if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
All right. This is crazy.
I mean, yes, that's the point, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the point was that we don't know that we are engaged.
All right. But
It's
then
like-
again, I'm also protecting Zenai, so maybe I found out, or maybe maybe Undefeated Horizon told me.
Yeah, you know, but we don't know. That's.
But you
that's
guys don't
super
know.
Crazy.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Patrick.
There's so many of these.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with I helped hide away a person who is a threat to or wanted by your clan. And the your clan I'm going with here is the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society.
Ooh.
Who is, like I said, is the group that is... I've sort of run to that's protecting me from the 100 ghosts as much as anyone is.
And yet,
I think in some mission job I was on, I ran across another 100 Ghosts member, either another family member or someone else, I'm not sure. But I helped them get away from the 100 Ghosts and didn't turn them over to something Oxes. Ox Pilgrim.
Escort Bureau. Escort.
But yeah, so I helped to get them away from the 100 Ghosts, but also didn't tell the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society or turn them over to them.
Awesome. And what's their name?
Trying to think. I don't think it should all be a family drama, so this is going to be someone else. So I don't think I know their real name. I would just know their 100 Ghosts handle. So what's a good descriptive name?
I'll give you a couple. Second Elk, Invincible Mantis, Dragon Nail Sage.
Ooh, what was that one?
Dragon Nail Sage.
Love it.
Okay. And so you put this person into hiding, and you want to keep them safe because you don't want, of course, the Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau to know. But of course, they're probably, they still want to do stuff. They want to get out. They've got this freedom now that they're away. So there's that pressure.
It's got this like weird, uncanny fighting style. Obviously, we all want to use our fighting styles. So I think he's totally in a like completely boring witness protection, sort of like a waiter or something.
It pops up from time to time. One of the conventions, of course, of a number of these movies is that all it takes is a mustache, and suddenly no one can tell who they are. So if we see them on film, as the audience, we know immediately that it's that person. So
nice.
All right. Pavel, let's get your last entanglement.
Yeah, I'm really like thinking, should it be connected to the Danyu Zhao or do I want this family drama? Because I already have two pair characters.
Bring in your own personal drama.
Okay, so my own personal drama is that my sibling, my older brother, he's like very jealous of me. Maybe it has to do something with, I don't know, maybe my parents were, I don't know, under some curse for something, and my brother is like, he isn't like very pretty. Maybe he has like a birth sign on his face, something that makes him like really stand out in a bad way. Mm-hmm. And he's very jealous that the parents had like a second son who was like all fine, all good, and he got the brunt of the curse or something, and he just basically wants to silently eliminate me. And my parents so far did nothing, even though probably there was like, I don't know, 1 or 2 very dangerous assassins after me. I'm not sure how to write it, but we'll see. So my sibling wants to eliminate me, but my parents won't do anything about it.
He is the eldest son. That makes sense. That's a classic. That's a classic wushu storyline. What is your brother's name?
I'm just yeah. So I am Kai Jin. So he will be how to run the generator again? Male names. So he is Tang Ji. I will write it in a moment in the entanglements.
Awesome.
Tang.
All right. So we've got all of those lovely bits. Sherry, you need to pick one of your fellow PCs to have a bond with. We've got a lot of connections there. Which one do you think is the most important to you?
Oh, that's hard. Because I already love all of them, so this is a problem. I think this it has to be Ren Shu though, because she's the one that the Vile Rain cult says that she's an agent against her, but I just know she isn't.
Awesome. And what about you, Maria? What do you want as your character bond?
I guess Zenai, since she's the most prominent out of all my entanglements.
All right.
That makes sense. And for you, Renshu?
I'm gonna go with no, I'm gonna go with Daniel Zhao, because I think I'm currently struggling fighting to try and convince him that I'm not evil.
All right.
Whereas I feel like I've already sort of convinced Genai a little bit.
All right.
I like it. And Kai Jin?
To choose another player character to get a bond with them, yes?
Yes.
Oh, that's a tough one. Factions are at war. I made promise. Yeah, I think I will take one on Genai, because it's this like what's your the other name? Silk Fox?
Yeah, Silkfoot Fox.
Silkfoot Fox, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm maybe getting a little bit suspicious that maybe these two characters are somehow more connected than I'm led to believe. I don't know. We'll see.
You must be very clever then.
All right. So that gives us our bonds. That sets that up. We've got our characters in place. What I want to do now is take our 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we'll set up a situation. I'm going to ask some leading questions about how we got there, put you sort of all in the same place, throw some wrenches in there, and we'll figure it out. When we come back from break, also, if any big questions, we'll go through those and see. So take 5.
This game is so twisty. I'm loving it so far.
Yeah.
Although I am just sitting here desperately trying to understand this complicated relationship web.
Yes.
I will add a NPC tab.
Yeah, that will be greatly useful.
Yeah, so you can put NPC names there in that sort of first column, and then descriptor, and then off, if anybody wants to finds pictures for NPCs, you can do that.
Okay. I was sitting here trying to get this complicated relationship web down in my head. I was wondering if I could ask a couple questions of people. Sherry, I was wondering for Jinai, who is Metal Viper to her? The Vile Rain member that I intentionally lost a duel with so that it wouldn't upset you.
He is her cousin, and of her family, the most highly placed within the Vile Rain cult itself. So, lots of respect for him.
And I was imagining maybe afterwards, sort of because there is that romantic subtext there of maybe attending to wounds with the monster hearts. What is it? Implied or erotic subtext or whatever.
Right.
Sort of that thing. Then for Maria, for Danu, why do you think that you suspect Renshu of evil? Is it just the 100 Ghosts connection, or did you see something that maybe you misinterpreted, or I don't know?
Maybe the first kill.
Oh.
Maybe I was there. It's just and I'm like, she killed someone, and she's also part of the 100 Ghost faction. I mean, I might not know that you left, right after. So.
And do you have anything personal against the 100 Ghosts? Have they affected you in some way?
Not as personal as the Blade Dogs, but I do know that they're unrighteous. So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I like you having seen my first kill. That's nice.
Yeah.
And then Pavel with Kaijin, has he shown in any way his affection for Renshu, or has it been a sort of secret longing thing?
I think he never really admitted to it, but when we stay long in a tavern, most friends have left, and I just stay there and when I talk some more. And
okay, that's cool.
I think he never really said it, but his actions are kind of a very very good indication that he's conflicted about it. Should this be the feelings he should be feeling or not?
I like it. And then Lowell,
yes.
I was wondering if I could get one more descriptive name for my brother, because I think all the 100 Ghosts have a descriptive name.
Ooh, okay. Let me throw you some new ones. Let's see what are good ones on my list here. Moon Silver Bureaucrat, Mighty Jade Guardian, Obsidian Heart.
Oh, I like Obsidian Heart.
Okay.
Oh, that's what I had.
I think the question that we need is, what was your 100 Ghosts' name?
I know, and that's going to have to be something I consider. So maybe that'll be a dramatic reveal at some point in here, but I will come up with it.
Okay. Any other questions before we get rolling? So, the righteous clans are gathering along with guests. Even though they're not necessarily righteous, of course, there'll be representatives from Jade Brush and Purity Sword and Black Lotus at this gathering. And they are gathering at the estate of the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society. They have gathered together. This is a big thing. Kind of everybody is invited, and you will have heard that one of the most senior members of the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society, a man named the Star-Stealing Sage, is to wash his hands. There is a ceremony that one can do to wash their hands and leave the Wulin world, to depart, to retire, and will essentially pass the mantle of his portion of the society on to his son Ming. And that it's a big deal. So let me ask Ren, what's your feeling about this? About having to go to this place with all of these people?
I'm nervous. I think obviously, like crowded places, lots of people. It's more of a chance that obviously my life is littered with misunderstandings from the past and loose ends that have never been dealt with, and so sort of really populated areas are dangerous, and also like there's just an ever increasing chance that something's going to go wrong, blow up, escalate into a situation other people are not so considered as Renshu is, and aren't as careful about how they interact with the world. And so like conflict and violence are everywhere when you get into crowded places.
Nice. I like that very much. Dan, you've worked with the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society. What's your impression / relation to the Star-Stealing Sage's son, to Ming, who is to be taking over his role within the Bureau, within the society?
For me, Ming seems capable. I'm not sure if he's capable enough, though. Like, I have my doubts. I have my doubts on Ming, but they're not super forefront on my mind. Like, the Ox Pilgrim Society is just, it's not really a stepping stone. It's just something to do while I do my revenge plot.
That makes sense. And Kai Jin, the Jade Brush Society, they have been extended an invitation, and you have been asked to go. Is it just you? Are there some other people from your society that are going? How do you imagine that?
Is it just me, or are the people from Jade Brush going?
Yeah. Is there a bigger crew that's going, or are you the only representative? How do you picture that?
I think there might be some bigger representation. Maybe even my brother there will be coming, but I didn't got my invitation from my. Yeah, I think I got my invitation through some kind of like a messenger, because I don't really stay like in day-to-day touch with my family, so I'm not sure. I think my brother
received a mysterious letter. You're not sure who it's from. It invited you to attend this. Yes. But you also know that you found out by the time you got here that your brother and some of his coterie of friends are present and representing that, and so there's going to be those angry glances across through this, and Zanai, there's a lot of righteous people here, a lot of righteous people with a lot of money and stuff. But who here claims to be righteous but is a target of the Fox?
Let's see here. Wasn't there some bureaucrat fellow?
Moonsilver bureaucrat?
Yeah, Moonsilver bureaucrat. He is corrupt.
He's corrupt. So what are the visible I mean, what are the secrets of his corruption? What does he do?
He essentially has been doing land deals where he is essentially signing the papers so that are casting the poor of some of the surrounding villages out, so that one of these guys who's not associated with the Ox Pilgrim thing but has a lot of money can build an estate. So
all right, so that kind of localized corruption there.
Exactly.
So the four of you know each other, and by happenstance, as occurs in these movies, you all arrive at about the same time in the great courtyard of this big estate. So what if our first shot is of Ren? Who does Ren see, and how does she react?
I think Ren sees Danu first. I think maybe Danu's just at a cart on the street buying food, like something on a stick or a fruit or something like that. And I come around a corner in sort of my slow and measured gait and see him, and that just sort of that breaks the grace of my step, and I sort of catch up and have to like back around a corner to sort of peek at him around like a post there, because this is exactly what I was afraid of. This is misunderstandings waiting to happen and violence in the street. I just can't have that.
Kai Jin, you're coming along. You've run into your friend, the young Wulin woman, Undefeated Horizon, and she's sort of tagging along with you for some reason. You're not sure exactly why, but you will see up ahead Ren, and see her. She starts to cross around a corner, and then she ducks back, like she's worried about something. What do you do?
I suppose I quietly approach from behind, and maybe when I'm like 5 meter distance, I just like a loud whisper, "Hello, Ren. Is there some trouble on the way?"
And I think Rin manages to only like a little bit, but physically freaks out and sort of steps backwards on something, trips over it, falls into a bit of a stall, knocks over a bunch of baskets, that sort of thing.
Paper goes flying.
I'm sorry. Let me help you to send out. I didn't mean to scare you.
Kai, I didn't. Oh, I was just I was thinking about something. Oh God, what is? Oh, thank you. That was very embarrassing.
Oh, here is another dare scroll you dropped.
Oh, yes. Oh, and this one got wet. Oh, just start packing them back into pockets and bags and stuff.
And Undefeated Horizon, watching this, doesn't like what's going on here, but isn't saying anything. Zenai, you are to meet Ren here. You heard that she is attending this, and you're a little worried about that. But you can't find her. But you do run into, of course, Dayu.
Oh, awesome. So she'll walk up, and of course, Danyu's buying food at the stall. So she'll help herself to one of the things he's just bought. And she's like, "Are you going too? This is awesome."
Yes, I am going. It is an Ox Pilgrim Escort Service meeting. I have to go.
Always so dutiful. I like that.
I blush.
So, who else have you seen? And she's sort of looking around, because, of course, it's the Wulin world, and you always have to be scoping out for the other Wulin.
I assume when you look back at the corner, there's that flurry of paper kind of falling.
Oh, there's Red.
All right. I guess, shall I come with?
And she turns and says, "Sure, hey, I'll buy you something. I think I owe you." And she'll stop at the next food booth and buy 2 of each and give him one of the things that.
All right.
Okay. Like a steamed bun.
Exactly.
Yes. I eat the bun.
As you're getting Ren set, Jen, and the other 2 come around the corner, and you will see them there, and you can announce your greetings to one another.
All right. And that is essentially, very classically, they're like, "Hello, hello, hello," and essentially, yes.
I think
Ren
like
will probably
as y'all,
awkward.
yeah, I think like as y'all come around the corner and as Undefeated Horizon is glaring down, like
Everyone.
Ren or Kai had just sort of given me a nice helpful hand up from the ground, but then there was another basket and I slipped and I think he had to like grab me around the waist. So there's this just very awkward moment as everybody comes in and is glaring all at once. Hello?
Yeah. Let me just and I'm just like trying to as gentle as possible put you back on the ground. Hello, Janai and Daniel. Haven't seen you coming there.
It's good to see you. Practicing new techniques, I see. And she'll sort of walk over and link her arms with Renshu.
Yes, yes. Rolling basket form.
Yes.
I'm looking back and forth awkwardly because I still think that Ren is kind of evil, but I'm not sure how to break it to everyone else.
And I'm definitely using Genai to like keep a physical barrier between the 2 of us, so she's just sort of like peering around Jen's nose at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am completely oblivious to this. I'm excited because we're going to a party and someone is going to wash their hands, and that is the most fabulous thing that a person in the Wulin can do, is to separate themselves from
Everything.
Yes, from that life. It's the most righteous thing you can do.
You guys are kind of, there's that camaraderie there that goes on. We see that. Let me get all these names. It's going to take me a bit here. Dan, you will see like one of the servants from the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society is doing that kind of, walking through the market stalls, clearly hunting for someone, and looks kind of maybe a little bit upset.
Excuse me, is something wrong? May I help you?
Master Dan, you. I am pleased to find you here. There is a delicate matter, and he looks at the other 3. They're sort of with you, so he kind of leans in close.
All right.
Brother Zong, the master's second son. He was to be present for the preparations for the ceremonies, but no one has seen him.
Where was he last seen?
He went out yesterday, but he has not yet returned.
And he went out to where specifically?
Well, he and some of his fellows went out last night to celebrate.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
To drink.
Yeah. All right. So, are there any like places to drink in the Wulin world that are well known and like out of character? I'm asking.
Sure. Sure. I assume there are taverns and inns and houses of ill repute. So actually, let's have you make a study roll.
Let me look at the basic moves then. Study. right. I will be rolling with, I guess, water because that makes sense.
Awesome.
Yay, my worst roll, and it's the first thing I do. I mean, worst stat.
Always good. And I'm going to move kind of soon, just because I want to kind of engage with mechanics a little there.
Okay, that is a 7.
So, yes, you know of a place. What is it called?
All right. Let me go back to the spreadsheet. I'm gonna need some name suggestions for taverns, I guess.
Oh, okay. Let's oh gosh, find one here. The Pedal Heart.
Sure. The Pedal Heart Tavern, I guess.
Okay. It's one that Wulins go to, and you know from experience that Brother Zong does go there.
All right. So yeah, I'll say to the student, all right, I will see to it that he comes back.
Please do. Thank you.
All right. And I start heading in that direction.
Okay. Do you say anything to your comrades or?
So I turn around and I'm looking at them. Brother Zong is missing. I'm going to see what's up.
Well, we'll come with you. We would not
Missing?
like to think that something bad has happened.
Are you sure?
No, I respect him greatly. We have to find him.
All right, I guess. and you can see that I'm like very hesitant on letting everyone come. So, but yeah, I like, especially since I'm supposed to protect Zen, and I'm again not very trusting of Ren. But yeah, sure, I'll let them come along.
Yes, I think one of the things that is always in your way is that whenever Janai is with Renshu, she always has her arm linked up with Renshu. That is her standard
thing.
mode.
All right.
Kai, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Now, I know you're not supposed to be training with weapons. So do you carry your 3-section staff out openly, or do you have that tucked away?
I think I have this like kind of like a long and very wide sleeves. So I suppose I have like a smaller version that just fits somewhere over here. If I need it again,
Oh no,
it's
full length for these films. You can produce a full length 3-section staff from your sleeve with no problem. Okay.
Yeah. So it's in the sleeve. Okay. Or maybe I just have an nunchaku this time because I'm also trained with nunchaku. So,
you will make your way. The group will make your way through the streets, and you're approaching the Pedal Heart, a known tavern. You know, it has the first floor and then the stairs and that open space with the balcony inside for the second floor. It's in every single Shaw Brothers film. It's in every martial arts film. You know, it's got stuff, balcony is the outside, and there is clearly, as you're approaching, there is clearly a commotion going on inside that tavern. The sounds of chairs getting thrown, tables being knocked over, wine jugs getting knocked to the ground. I think you're probably kind of the lead character in this scene there, Danyu. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. I am going to go in and figure out what the hell is going on.
Okay. You will run in to the tavern. And it's big. It's big enough for a large fight. You will see that there is a gentleman with long white hair has his sword out. There are a group of ruffians backing him up, and you can see that he is moving with deliberate speed towards Brother Zong, who you see Brother Zong going, yeah, let's just talk about this. So, what do you want to do?
I am going to stand in defense of Brother Zong and make sure that he doesn't get his ass kicked.
Okay, let's have you. Yeah, that's a great defense move, is what you're going to do here.
Yeah, Legend of the Mountain. I want to use. I'm guessing Earth would make sense since it's like.
That sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So I will re-roll this, and that is an 11.
That is an 11. So, describe to me what that looks like when you get in between this white-haired warrior and Zong.
All right. So he was going to attack, or
Yeah,
like,
he was.
Okay. So as he swings his sword, you see the seventh eagle stallion just like the cameras. You would see that parrying the blow, and then you will see Daniel basically in between both of them.
Okay, and you've got your sword there. He's hit that, and he looks furious there. Get out of my way. Zanai, what are you doing?
Oh, as soon as I see that, let's see here. I think that what it is I want to sort of make all of those ruffians that are sort of a force behind the guy with the sword less of an issue. So I kind of look up and I see all the other Wulin who are up above at the upper layer, the upper level there, and they're like leaning against that railing, looking over at the fight. And I think my intent is I would like to essentially pick up this like jar that's sitting here that was a booze jar and throw it up there to sort of break the railing, like where it's connected to the wall, so that it breaks and all those guys who are leaning over actually, have to like jump down into the middle of the ruffians.
So it seems to me you are fighting mooks,
Yes.
and you've described how you're defeating them. That
Yes.
methodology is fine.
Yes.
So what do you want to roll with?
That sounds pretty creative, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So I think I'll try fire.
Okay.
All right. Now, the problem is that I have the wrong link for this. And whenever I try to, can you give me that link again?
I'm putting it in the chat.
Thank you. For some reason, there's a Central Husky link that's all through the sheet
okay.
I tried to use, and I apologize.
I have to move your microphone so it's not right by your mouse pad.
Oh, sorry.
Also, the Silkfoot Fox and the old Renshu are in the middle of the moves for some reason. The photos.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
They keep moving around.
That is okay. Just making sure everyone knew.
Okay. So I'm rolling 2 dice. No, I'm rolling 2 dice. And then I add 2 to that. So that's 8 plus 2 is 10.
So fling that up there. It hits. You knock some of them down. Things come down, and some of the Wulin drop and start engaging. And there's that tussle where it's pushing the back, and this white-haired warrior's support is pulled off. So right now we have the white-haired warrior. We have Zong. Let's go to you, Ren.
So I don't know. Is it too late for me to try and cool this down? Has this already gone into like an all-out conflict?
You could try to cool it down.
Okay. Yeah. I think I think I was sort of circling around trying to get to some stairs to get down there into the central action, and then Janai made a very convenient way down. And so as the banister goes down, I'm going to sort of be stepping on, riding mooks down into the midst of the fray there, sort of gently through the air. And as I hit the ground in between them there in the center, I'm just going to sort of spin and throw my arms out as these paper scroll written whips come flying out. They sort of they wrap around, whip around people's wrists, and then sort of chunk down to the ground. As I say, this is a sacred meeting. This is a spiritual event and a place of community. This is not a place to be brawling like children.
All right, let's have you roll.
All right. It's probably going to be water for wisdom.
That makes sense.
11.
11. So,
and on a 10 plus, you cool tempers. If anyone decides to instigate a fight, they must mark a condition. This lasts until circumstances change.
So you kind of get that wrapped up and kind of pull him back and break it up far enough that people are kind of taking a breath there. Kai Jin, you still see Zong is drunk and kind of teetering and maybe not in full awareness of the danger that he's in. But you will see Ren kind of wrap up this guy, kind of get him to stop. What do you want to do?
I'm kind of mumble to myself, this is a normal tavern. The brawls are usually to happen in normal taverns. But I like stay on the edges, maybe like move from window to window, look inside. I basically look at the ruffian that was backing up the white herd enemy and at his markings, and I'm kind of want to use my move to ask a study question without rolling, because I'm really curious about his motivation over here. Does it seem that he's just like, I don't recognize him and he's just, I don't know, maybe he was offended by Zhang, or is he here with obvious intent of murdering Zhang in public?
Ah, that's a good question. So you're kind of watching and you can kind of read the scene. You've got a good eye for this. He looks like a Wulin warrior, but he doesn't belong to a group that you know. He's probably one of those people who hasn't been invited to the ceremony and so was already bothered by that, irritated by that. And then clearly Zong has said some choice insulting words to him to rile him up. This isn't necessarily a bad guy, but he's got a temper. And he doesn't seem to have any ulterior motive, isn't doing this for hire or anything. Does that seem fair?
Yes.
Okay.
So I suppose I just like mingle in the crowd, just ready to jump and provide help when it will be needed.
As a mook is getting up, you can put your foot on him and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then right now, it looks to me like Danu, you have control of the situation. It's kind of got this warrior pulled back. How do you handle that now? We've got drunken Song, got this guy calmed a little bit. What do you do?
Okay, so I tell him he's drunk. You can't take his words to heart. Assuming that I know that, or this is assuming I also figure out the same thing as Kaijin.
He says, "This is the best that Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau Society provides." Kind of spits on the ground. So then it's not worth my time. And kind of shake off the papers and puts his blade back, and his men start getting up. And he says, "You should take this drunken fool home."
That was my intent.
And they'll go back. You'll see he actually pulls out a tael of silver and puts it on the counter for the bartender to actually pay for the damage, which is a fairly righteous thing to do.
All right. So yeah, I guess I'll take I'll start I'll turn to the drunken man Zong. Do you need help walking?
I can walk just to get that white-haired monkey away.
Okay, calm down. Your family's looking for you because of the ceremony. It's about to start.
And he clearly can kind of get him by the elbow and start moving him along.
Yeah.
You can move him out of there. Does anybody else want to do anything before I scene cut away?
I take a look to see if there are other Ox Pilgrim Society people around here who kind of were watching this go down and how they're reacting.
No, it looks like everybody else is probably at the house.
Oh, man.
Actually, could I try a study on that white-haired warrior as I was there up in his face and watching him walk away?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Let's see. What would that be?
So what do you think is the appropriate for you for doing that? Fire or water or metal? I'd go with your best stat. Oh, wait, what was that?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I was trying to see if anything else fit, but water has awareness.
Okay.
Wow, that's 12.
Whoa. So you've got 2 hold.
First, I want to learn his scale. And can you talk about scale?
So what scale means is everybody has a scale. They are either better than you, equal to you, or below you. If you fight somebody better than you, you always lose. That's just the nature of the Wulin world. In order to fix that, you have to go away and figure out a way to overcome that, learn a technique or find something to even the odds. Bad guys will do that to heroes by cheating, like using poisons and stuff. If someone is on your scale, that's when we actually kind of roll. We actually can kind of test on that. And if someone is below your scale, then you always beat them unless they change it up.
Okay, so it's 3 distinct states, and they're sort of fictionally applied.
Yep. No cool. Numbers, just those states. So you ask about his scale, and he's fairly good. You would say that he's on your level. You're a little worried about what would have happened if he had actually gotten at Zong if you hadn't been here.
Okay. And then a question about the situation, like with Zhang here being drunk and disgracing himself in this like really solemn ceremony. What's the biggest danger that could come of that?
If word of this gets back to his father, that would be very bad for Zong. So that's the only danger here is really to him.
Okay, so it's not going to threaten the status of the clan or the ceremony?
No, it will be embarrassing, but he will have to take that sort of the anger out on Zong. Of course, also the question is, Dan Yu was sent to fetch him. You guys did stop this, but if it gets spun badly, somebody could certainly suggest that Dan Yu didn't step in time.
Gotcha. Cool.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, we need to get him sober.
Oh, and because I rolled a 10 plus earlier on Legend of the Mountain, can I say that I gained a bond with Zhang?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because that is because in on a hit, regardless on 10 plus or 7 to 9, I get to choose one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get a bond.
So they head out. Kaijin, I assume you follow.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will cut to the group arriving at the court. Yep. Wait.
No.
Okay.
Before that, we have to go through all the ministrations that you do when someone's drunk and you're getting them sober in the Wulin world. It is all terrible things they have to eat and ways they get poked and pressure points and nerve things until they call mercy and act sober.
Yeah.
I call acupuncture.
Yeah, acupuncture and the stuff in their drinks. Oh, and telling him that it's lizard tail and all that kind of things. He will be sober but unhappy by the time you get back. And the ceremony hasn't begun. That will be happening later this evening. But people are gathered and they're certainly mingling. So you can arrive. You can get Zong handed off to someone from the household who will take him off your hands. Kaijin, there are a lot of people from the Wulin world here, and you will note that your brother is here. Do you think he sees you?
Yeah, definitely. There is this awkward moment where I hope to I'm just about to turn my gaze away, and he just looks, and then just bow to acknowledge that because I think there's some distance between us. But I think for the time being, I'm not sure if I'm going to approach him. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Talk to my brother.
He does that bow that is sort of, you could tell, is forced when you bow. And he said he has that kind of birthmark on his face there. What he's done and what he does in public is he has a half mask thing that he puts on. That's kind of done in jade to kind of look super cool. And you can see that he's got some of his cronies with him, and he will greet you.
Yeah, I suppose as I'm leaving the posse, I will just Rinshu, I will see you later. I have some family matters to attend to, and I will just wander off. And yeah, I will come to my brother and says, Sungli, it's a pleasure to see you. I was hoping that maybe the father will be coming now. Tangjin. I was hoping that maybe the father will be coming, but it's always a pleasure to see you.
Father sent me. I am here to represent our household.
Of course. I'm just here like always as the second eldest, just supervising how you handle things. No, just learning how you do things. Maybe the supervising just slips something, but then
yes.
I'm just observing how you learn.
There's his eyes at you. It goes, I have no need. You have no role in this. I don't even know how you got an invitation.
Well, you see, Tang, I'm also kind of connected, even though you will inherit everything from our father, but people know me as well.
Connected? You mean connected to that 100 ghost villain that you walked in with?
It was just we were just moving together through the entrance.
Certainly you have no friendship or affection to someone such as that.
Us, you are us asking observer. Us, you are asking observer. As always, brother.
And you do that sparring back and forth, and he will say, "Well, I have been asked to meet with some people. I should go."
Very well, brother. I hope to see you maybe later for a friendly sibling conversation.
Yes, conversation. That's what we'll have. And he will turn and depart, and his men kind of fall in behind him. What about you, Ren? You've arrived at this place. See, Kaijin heads off to talk to some people. Where do you go? What do you do? How are you handling yourself in the meantime?
So I think after that, I'm sort of like in conversation with Genai, and just sort of the mode of like this is what I was worried about. These gatherings, these where we bring all of the different clans and all the people together, they bring all their conflicts with them. There's just endless fighting and chaos.
Don't worry, righteousness will win out.
Well, but why does righteousness always have to win? Why can't it just be?
Well, it is. It just is, and that's why it wins. You think far too hard about these things.
I fear you think too little about them, but you live a happier life, and your optimism, it's not something I can achieve.
You could. You just won't.
Come, I hear there's a traveling bookseller here. It's been too long since I've read something new and stimulating.
Okay. Well, I see they're serving some plum wine over there, so...
Maybe a little column A, a little of column B.
Oh, very sensible.
And then 3 different varieties of column B.
Perfect.
So you can head out and mingle. I assume you're trying to keep a low profile then, Ren?
Yeah, I'm trying to stay in sort of the boring areas where you wouldn't expect like mystical ninja assassins or warring clans to be hanging out.
All right. So this is a tough thing for you. I'd like you to roll overcome.
All right.
You won't have to do this all the time, but I think this is that sort of first entrance, first bit here.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's see.
And what is he avoiding, or like?
So
I'm trying
he's
to
got
picture
this
what's the danger here.
embarrassment, or someone calling him out, or just that kind of getting called on the carpet, that kind of thing.
Cool.
I think I'm going to go with wood, with the idea of endurance and also just like a tree in the forest sort of idea. Completely unremarkable. At a 3, maybe it's not completely unremarkable. Is there XP on a fail? How does XP work?
No,
here?
there is not.
Okay.
So you will go and start to head over to one of the bookseller places, and you will see some of the Ox Pilgrim people they actually stop you, and they say, this is for honored guests only. Your quarters have been set up elsewhere. You should go there. And really call you out in the middle of this. Very, very painfully. Everyone looks. Everyone.
Brothers, this is... I am of the same clan as you. Master Cheng, see, this is our
In
place.
name only.
If that's how you feel, then I would not go against your wishes. I will withdraw to consider my place in this clan.
I'm going to have you mark your wood stat as a condition right now.
Oh, okay. So actually, I guess she comes off a little harsher than that then.
Oh, so it's just kind of seriously reacts. Okay.
Yeah, because, well, overconfident, angered. Yeah. So I think it's a little more of, this. I've been through the same ceremonies that you have. I've stood my watch and proven my worth over and over again. If those wiser than you are able to see it, perhaps you should emulate them and reconsider your stance.
Ooh, calls people out. You can see you've got some people who are angry, or when the opportunity presents themselves, they may come at you, but you will fall back to your quarters. In your quarters, Ren, when you get there, your room, you will find that there is a note for you.
What's it look like?
Okay. It's kind of carefully folded up in a letter, and it's kind of tucked away. So when you come in, you'll find it, but it isn't obvious for anyone.
I think I pick it up and I sort of, I spend a moment before I open it, just feeling the paper and sort of sniffing it to get a good sense of it before I very carefully unfold it and see what's going on.
And it says, there is danger for you here. A conspiracy afoot. Oh. I must speak with you privately at the Peony Temple after the ceremony.
Any mark or signature or telltale?
No.
Well, the danger afoot is, that's exactly what I've been dealing with all day, but a conspiracy, that might take looking into.
All right. Let's come, Zan, after that you sort of see that fall out there. What do you do?
I figure she's coming back with the plum wine, and Ren isn't there, but she sees all those guys kind of over by where she was headed, glaring out the door. And she kind of knows what's happened, and she's got all the plum wine. I mean, she's literally got 3 bottles of plum wine, and and so she sort of looks around, and I think she will sort of back up to where Kai Jin is, and she'll go, Are you done talking to the villain?
Jin, it's so nice it's so nice to you to call my brother a villain. Yes.
I'm sorry. It's just Ren got sent. I was wondering. I think Ren got sent back somewhere, and I was wondering if you would go with me in case something is up.
Ren, yeah, sure. We should go. I will deal with my brother later. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I called him a villain. He looked very intimidating. She still has all this plum wine in her hands, by the way.
Yeah. Allow me to take one from you, and
that's a very good one. This one is very good too, and so is this one.
I'll come from behind and take the other one. I'm coming with.
Oh, I was just looking for you. Excellent. And she goes, "Let's go find Ren."
All right.
I'm worried that someone's giving her a hard time.
Sure. Well, to me, it's I'm thinking maybe she's the one doing something wrong, but I'm not. I don't know. So,
do you think you saw that scene or didn't? So you're all getting this. What do you think?
Regardless of whether I saw the scene or not, I'm concerned that she's gonna do something nefarious. So, yeah, okay. I'll go.
So should we just cut to you attending on Ren, or is there anything? Does that seem reasonable?
Oh, I think we all spill in to ask her what's happened,
Okay.
So she wants to take care of this peony temple thing on her own. Not happen.
So you're that letter. You've read it a couple times. You're sniffing the paper, and there'll be that sound of your door opening.
And yeah, there's like the stiffened back and very like obviously shoving something secret into her kimono there. And I think as she turns around, she's got these little like spectacles on, and they catch the light from the doorway, and they're just completely sort of reflective golden and hiding her eyes. But maybe like Jen or maybe all of you super kung fu awareness. There's like a couple of like tear stain spots sort of things on her kimono there, and she actually has those gloves off, and you see one of them's torn, but her hand, Danu, her right hand, like the knuckles are all bruised and busted up, and there's bruises going back her hand as she like hastily grabs a fresh glove and puts it on.
Ooh. Nice.
What are you? This is. Hello?
We brought you wine.
Oh, that would be helpful. Yes, it's been a.
What can you say? When someone brings you wine, you just have to have some. And she'll kind of bring the other ones in, and she goes, "So what are we going to do this evening?"
Well, there's the ceremony.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very important. It's important that we oversee things that can bring the clans together, that can foster unity rather than division and secrets.
Sounds very righteous. How are we going to do it?
So here's a question: did we all see the paper? Did like her hiding the paper?
You definitely saw her like shoving something in her dress, sort of secretively. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, no secrets, right? Staring at Ren.
And she's like, her eyes are darting back and forth between you and Jen. Like, no secrets amongst friends. We're of the same clan, and I should show you the respect that is owed, and not let some of our pig-mouthed brothers get in the way of that. And she'll sort of slowly pull out the note and unfold it and spread it there on the bed for everyone to like lean in and read.
All right.
Yeah, I suppose like Kaijin wouldn't just like jump and read the letter. He would just more like approach Ren, like put a hand on her shoulder and just says, I know that those like guards can be pretty harsh with the words, but I just want you to know that you do have friends over here like us. Like we came to see that you are okay.
I think as you come up and you touch her shoulder, there is sort of like a flinch and a stiffening of muscles. But as you're saying that, she sort of relaxes and leans into your hand a little bit, and at the end like slips her gloved hand up and sort of pats yours and like nods in appreciation. Little thick-throated.
Very good. So other than that bit about how there's
like
no
actually,
yeah.
Sherry, I want to pause here because I think we did engage a mechanic here.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like right now that Kaijin, you're trying to comfort or support her. So let's have you roll that.
Yeah, just to be clear on these conditions, when we are marking the checkbox, are we also supposed to like write which condition it is in particular? Or just
you can do that, or just put in your head, okay, I know kind of what this is called.
Okay.
It's up to you guys for color.
Cool. I suppose I was giving passion to this speech because there's some hidden feelings behind it. So I suppose I will roll fire. Why are this picture moving like mad?
Sorry, it does it. We'll actually move those pictures over onto the to the character tab later on to get those.
Yeah, we will add one to this.
Okay.
Yeah, barely a 7, but a 7.
Okay. So they do hear you. And it sounds like you answered, right, Patrick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can clear a condition.
Okay. And then, can you expand on that 7 to 9 you share and any consequences from their action part?
Oh, that's if you're in a charged situation. Let's say you were in a fight.
Oh,
that's
okay.
I'm going to help them move in a fight.
Oh, I gotcha. I see the separation now.
Sort of
Okay.
Parts to that because I didn't want to have two separate moves.
Cool.
Yeah, it's my attempt to bundle some of these moves together that may be a little more confusing than it needs to be. But you will hear the boom boom of the call for people to come out to the great massive courtyard in back, and they do. I assume you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about the letter later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you will head out there, and I imagine that we're getting here as a little bit of a montage because there are going to be some people from the Vile Rain Cult who are going to see Zanai has come here with Kai. And then, of course, there's people seeing you guys with Ren, and all of that. So it seems to me, to kind of head into that meeting, into that ceremony, that that's a big gathering point. Lots of potential social interactions, lots of potential tension. I think we actually have to stop there because we're just a little before 1:45. I don't want to start another big scene then. So I'm going to give everybody an XP for play. And if you hit, I'm going to ask you if you kind of engage one of your entanglements. Sherry, did you engage one of them?
Let's see here. Well, my gosh, I was running all over the place. Let's see here. Probably only the suspicion on Ren.
Okay.
So I've made sure that I show up in her company, so that could cause problems.
And we're going to call that your highlighted one.
Okay.
So you're going to get three points for that.
Awesome. I will take them.
Maria, what about you?
I think I hit 2.
Okay.
Suspicion of Renshu being evil. We didn't see Shang-Chi, but I did suspect of Renshu being nefarious and stuff. And
That
then
seems perfect.
and then to a lesser degree, then I being like trying to stick with her and protecting her to a lesser degree.
So we'll give you 4 points then total. 3 for your highlighted, 1 for the other one.
All right.
And to tell you about the highlighting, we'll highlight at the beginning of the next session. I'll have you pick one of your entanglements to be the highlight. I'll also we've got some of these NPCs. I'll put more of them on the table for you to interact with because most of them will be present in some form or another to make it extra complicated so people can go and do their scenes. We certainly got the brother on the table. What about you, Ren?
I think I definitely hit on that affection with Genai, and that sort of she believes in me if no one else does. And I helped hide away Dragon Nail Sage, who's a threat to the Ox Pilgrim Escort Society. I didn't hit on the details of that, but I felt like we did play a lot with the secrets that I'm keeping from the Ox Pilgrims and their distrust of me.
I like that, and I think that's a good way to approach that kind of thematic to the entanglement. So I'm going to give you 4.
Okay.
And Kai Jin?
I think I really hit on my love for Rian Shu, where I just went and comfort her when I see that she needed that. And interaction with my brother wasn't really to resolve anything yet. I hope it will be next session. So I think not yet anything else.
So 4 points.
Okay.
All right. So that's where we're going to start next session. We'll begin by going through highlighting. We'll see if there are any questions. We'll kind of roll into the ceremony. And at the end of the next session, we will take 15 minutes to do Roses and Thorns. Any questions, anybody, before we wrap?
No.
Okay.
Yes. I just had a brief question about conditions on a stat.
Sure.
So when you say you can't roll that stat, does that mean you always have to choose something else? Or if like my wood was marked and if what I was trying to do, like I couldn't think of anything other than endurance for it to be, what would happen?
So that it is all sort of a fictional thing. So if you have that marked, then you can't roll with it. You have to go with another stat, and you have to tell me a little bit about how maybe that stat plays in, that maybe it shapes how you're reacting.
Okay.
And you can either say, well, because I'm rolling water instead, it does this, or you might say I'm rolling water, but I've still got my negative condition, and so it comes off angry like you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Question.
Yeah.
So, is it possible to have all stats marked as conditions?
Oh yeah, that'd suck, wouldn't it?
That would suck. Like, what would happen then? You can't do anything.
Can't do anything. You would be taken out.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, you're out of it.
Even if you don't have, like, wounded is still a condition in there.
Well, wounded is still a condition, but if everything but wounded is marked, that means your soul is crushed.
Okay.
You are despair grips you.
Basically, just at the whims of fictional positioning and GM moves.
Exactly, and there is a take a powerful blow. So if someone attacks you verbally, you roll with your conditions marked to see what happens. That's if somebody comes at you full on offensive. Now, that's not just physical combat, but it is social.
I like this.
Yeah. I think one thing is that when we have scenes, whether you're lead or not, but if you're having a scene, if other people have entanglements with you, should we have sort of a pause before we end the scene where those people can do something or enter in to have that reaction, essentially to show that?
Because that was a good idea.
Because it was like when he was talking to his brother, I would have liked to show up and like his brother would have recognized me as the person. Does that make any sense? And
yeah, let's. I will try and make that a thing that we do next time. Do the reaction shots.
Yeah,
that's fine. We do that in Kingdom, and I like it a lot. So yeah, we'll try and do that. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast. Thank you guys very much. We took half the session for creation, but I enjoyed what we did for the second half, and I can't wait to play with all of this stuff. So I'm going to stop the broadcast.